That being said, it's fun to remember how it feels now that there won't be 50 people around the table this year. The Gaithers have always shown the world what a great family they are, but was it all a lie? Now that they are divorced, Bill Gaither finally spoke out, and what he said changed everything. It took years to hide the truth, but now it's out. What really happened when the doors were shut? Keep listening to find out. For years, people said that the Gaither family was having problems. People thought that the Gaither was the best in church, family, and religion music. Bill and his wife had not only built a job together, but also what seemed like a strong marriage. Fans adored their friendship and thought it stood for something honest and unshakable. Since then, though, things have changed. There were small but clear signs that things weren't going as smoothly as they seemed. It was quiet at first. They started to show up together less often, and when they did, there was something different about the way they talked to each other. On stage, they weren't being as friendly as fans had come to expect. There weren't as many laughs, touches, and deep looks. Small, private moves that used to seem so normal were starting to go away. Instead, there was a clear gap between them, and there was a tension in the air. When Bill showed up to an event by himself, there were the first real signs of trouble. He always said nice things about his wife and made sure to bring her up in conversations, calling her his biggest support. But when someone asked Bill about her absence at this event, he just gave a vague answer, something about timing issues. Fans who had been with them for a long time knew that wasn't enough. When people asked Bill about his wife, he never turned them down so quickly. That moment made me start to doubt things. After that, more cases started to come in. Witnesses saw them getting to and from shows in different cars. They didn't stand close to each other even when they were on stage together. The way they talked to each other felt more like a show than a real relationship. Fans went on social media to ask what was going on. Some people thought they were just having a rough time. Every pair has problems from time to time. Some people weren't sure. People said that Bill seemed stressed, even distracted and lost in thought during shows. Some people said he stopped answering certain personal questions in interviews and instead kept his comments short and changed the subject. That's when withdrawals showed that something was really wrong. Plans for months-long events were suddenly pushed back, and sometimes there were no good reasons given. Bill, who had always cared about his friends, stopped going to public events as much. Even though there were no formal statements, the pattern was hard to miss. Behind the scenes, something bad was going on that would have an effect on both their jobs and their personal lives. There was more and more talk, and the stories got crazier. Some people said they were fighting over money and business choices that affected their company. Others said in whispers that they had a big fight with close friends or people in their inner group, which made their marriage tough. Some even said that their faith was being put to the test because they had questions or disagreements about the direction of their work, which was causing them to grow apart. What shocked people the most were the reports that no one wanted to believe. Since then, rumors of cheating have been going around, getting stronger every week. There was more to the tension between them than just work or personal problems, people said. They said that trust had been broken. Fans thought it might be true, even though no one had proof. Some people said that Bill's wife had been acting differently, avoiding eye contact in public and looking awkward whenever their marriage came up. Some people thought that Bill had changed, becoming less open with the people around him and more closed off. The stories got bigger as more people talked about them. It didn't help that neither Bill nor his wife said anything about the rumors. Things got worse because they didn't say anything. Some fans held on to the hope that everything was okay and that these stories were just based on talk and too much thinking about the situation. But some people weren't sure. They thought that something was going on behind closed doors and that it would soon be known. Everything came to a head all of a sudden. Soon something big would happen that would change everything. When it did, everyone would be shocked by the truth. Lord, help us be real good citizens. In fact, we said we want to get a in citizenship. Remember that grade in junior high? A in citizenship. If we have to wear the mask, we'll wear the mask, and we're going to get through this, and I think we are. So, well, you look good and healthy, and I'm glad. You're following all the rules. We want a guy's around for a long, long time. She's a great cook, and we gained a few pounds while we were cooking together. We've been staying home, which is good because Angie, who works with us in the house, goes to the grocery store and drugstore for us, so we've only seen our family. Yes, she said. That night changed everything. Bill Gaither thought it was just another night. He had been out late at a secret meeting with coworkers and close friends. The last few weeks had been very busy for him, but he still made the effort to show up, smiling like everything was fine in his life. But the truth was that he had been feeling something off for months. It was like he couldn't quite push it away. He told himself that the worry was making him think too much about things. He knew better, though. He had a lot on his mind as he drove home. He thought about how things feel different these days. He and his wife really were far apart, not just in his mind. It was clear to him that something was wrong because she avoided his eyes. They talked less, and there was a quiet stress where there used to be laughter. He told himself that every marriage has rough times and that this was just a phase. But tonight, he couldn't get rid of his worries. He pulled into the driveway late at night. The only light in the house came from the living room, which was very dim. Bill made a face. Sometimes when he had late meetings, his wife went to bed early, but she was still awake tonight. After getting out of the car, his shoes crunched on the dirt as he walked to the front door. He knew something was wrong as soon as he walked in. From the other room there was soft, close-knit laughing. He hadn't heard that laugh in a long time. His stomach turned. He did nothing but listen in the hallway. His heart was beating so hard against his ribs. He took a slow step forward with his fists clenched. And then he saw it. His wife was wrapped in the arms of another woman. Everything around him went away for a moment. He could no longer breathe, and the room seemed to be getting smaller and smaller around him. He tried to clear his mind by blinking, hoping that the dim light was just messing with his eyes. But he could not have been wrong about what he saw. When his wife saw him standing there, she pulled back and her face turned pale. The other lady took a quick step away, and her face showed that she felt guilty. Bill had trouble breathing. His heart was beating fast in his ears. He was ready to talk, but the words wouldn't come out. He felt like his body was frozen. He was trying to figure out what the signs meant that he had ignored for so long while his mind raced through memories. Ernie, I just want to tell you what a great honor it is that you guys, chose to do this project. I mean, to do a whole project of one person's writing is pretty amazing. It's a beautiful project, you know. What you said about holding prayer meetings in cottages is interesting. During this time when a lot of us have been home more than we have, chosen maybe, and a lot of people with little kids have had to homeschool, home entertain, home play games, home exercise, all as a part of home life. But, you know, I think that if we are open to it, it makes our lives richer. What is this? His voice was so low it was almost a whisper, but it cut through the quiet like a knife. His wife didn't answer right away. She opened her mouth, but she didn't say anything. It looked like someone caught her in a moment she didn't think would be shown. As if she didn't know what to do, the other lady looked between them, clearly nervous and wanting to leave. Bill had a sharp pain in his chest that wasn't real. It was a pain of betrayal, shame, and anger. There were a lot of feelings going through his mind, but one question was the most important. How long? This time his voice was stronger, but he barely knew it was his. His wife jumped. Bill, how long? His voice broke. He felt the weight of the moment on him. Just the fact that she wasn't sure was enough. He already knew the answer. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't just a brief moment of weakness. This was real, and it had been going on behind his back while he couldn't see it. His anger made it hard for him to see. He never let go of things, but he was very close to doing so right now. He looked away and ran his hand through his hair as he tried to calm down. His body was shaking with anger and he couldn't catch his breath. It was very quiet between them and they couldn't stand it. Last but not least, his wife slowly moved forward. Bill, please, let's talk. Talk? Now you want to talk? She looked like she was hit hard by his painful voice. He didn't care, though. He ignored the signs for too long and pretended everything was okay. It was something he was trying to hold on to that was already getting away from him. There it was, the truth, right in front of him. Softly, I didn't want you to find out like this, she said. She looked sad in her eyes. He laughed in a fake way and shook his head. He said, Oh, I bet you didn't. The snark in his words covered up the pain inside. He was sick and felt like the ground had broken open under him, leaving him on the edge of something scary and unknown. He took a deep breath and ran his hand over his face. His whole world had just fallen apart and he had no idea what to do next. He was sure only that this, whatever it had been, was over. As soon as he turned away and walked out the door, the cool night air hit him like a wave. He had to leave to clear his mind and decide what to do next. One thought kept going through his mind as he got into his car and drove off into the night. Things would never be the same again. I love that you sang our songs, or any religious songs, for the first time at home. That's why you want to sing them all over the country. They're in your blood, you know. The message is, I like to think that songs are portable theology. We carry it with us in the bathtub and at the grocery store. Songs play in our heads, and I also speak and write other things. But I really do know that when you're down for the third time, it's always the words to an old hymn or gospel song that save you. And as writers, Bill and I take very seriously the truth of what we put in our songs, because if that's what will help you when you need it most, it needs to be true. With this medley, Ernie is the first one. Yes, that's it, is the first one. Very Ling God. Okay, this is it. I remember that we were sitting around and saying, okay, we can't record all of these songs, so let's go through and get a medley and sing a little bit of some of your better ones. You did do He Touched Me and Because He Lives as whole songs, and I'm about to name something else, but how can we get some of these other songs? When the shocking news of Bill Gaither's finding hit the fans, they were shocked, angry, and had mixed feelings. Everything went crazy in the church society. It began as a whisper, a story that seemed too crazy to be true. Bill Gaither had spent decades building a legacy of faith, singing, and family. He found his wife with another woman when he walked in. Not a single person saw this coming, and as soon as it hit social media, it spread like wildfire. Many fans didn't believe it at first. They called it fake news. Some people even said that news sites made up the whole story to hurt Bill's reputation. They had always seen Bill and his wife as the ideal couple, a good model of a marriage for God. They couldn't even imagine that such a terrible deception could happen in their own home. A lot of supportive messages and old pictures of the couple together were shared on social media by fans who loved the Gaither. People also shared how the Gaither had changed their lives and prayed that the truth would come out soon. It was their hope that there had been a mistake and that Bill would finally come clean and clear everything up. But as more information came out, that hope began to fade. People who were close to the family confirmed that what happened really did happen and that Bill left his home in a terrible state of mind. People who saw him said he was driving around randomly that night because he needed time to think about what he had seen. A close friend of Bill's, who did not want to be named, told a reporter that he had never seen him so sad. It was at that point that many people started to understand what was really going on. It wasn't just a story, it was true. The responses happened right away and were very strong. Some fans were so angry that they yelled at Bill's wife. The people around her called her a liar and said she betrayed both her husband and the faith they had both taught for years. One fan asked, "How could she do this to him?" in a sad Facebook post. After everything they've been through, after everything he's done for their family, this is how she repays him? Some people went even further and said she had been lying to her fans the whole time. If she was willing to lie to Bill for who knows how long, how do we know she hasn't been lying to all of us too? A friend asked. The anger toward her grew quickly. Some Christian groups that had helped her in the past stopped supporting her. Events she had planned to go to were quietly canceled. It became popular to look back at old acts and conversations to see if there were any clues about what was going on behind closed doors. As fans tried to make sense of the shocking betrayal, they looked at every moment from the past through a new view. But not everyone agreed with Bill. Another group of fans said that the anger was too great, that private issues should stay private, and that no one really knew what happened in a marriage. Some wrote, "We don't know her side of the story," telling people not to jump to assumptions. Some people thought that the Christian community's response was too harsh. They said that condemning and judging weren't the right things to do. A person on Twitter asked, "Didn't Jesus preach love and forgiveness?" People also thought about Bill and what this meant for his job. Maybe we should stop throwing stones and start praying instead. Would he walk away from the attention? After such a deception, would he still be able to lead prayer with the same heart and passion? Many people were afraid that this story would change him forever and that he would never be the same again. Some people thought that this would make him make some of his most powerful music yet, using his pain and sadness to give his songs even more meaning. People online talked a lot about what they thought Bill would do next. Would he try to get a divorce? Would he say something about it in public? Or would he choose to keep quiet and hide his pain from everyone? Fans had a lot of different opinions. Some hoped he would speak out soon, while others thought he should handle the situation privately. At the same time, the media made the most of the situation. There were headlines on everything, from gossip sites to major news sources. Some reporters tried to get more attention by writing dramatic headlines like "Betrayal in the Gospel World, Bill Gaither's Heartbreak and the Scandal That Rocked Christian Music." Talk shows had experts talk about how scandals like this affected religious celebrities and whether Bill's reputation would ever fully recover. It was clear that this was no longer just a personal problem. It had turned into a public show, and everyone had an opinion. Even with all the chaos, one theme kept coming up: support for Bill. Thousands of his friends sent him words of support on social media. A few people sent Bible lines. Others told their own stories of how they got through lies and sadness. A lot of people just told him that they were praying for him, and that his impact wouldn't be defined by what other people did. Prayer vigils for him were even set up in churches across the country. "We Stand with Bill" became a popular term for people who supported him. On social media for days, his name was all over, and people from all walks of life were sad about what had happened to him. A lot of well-known people in the church and Christian music industry spoke out in support. Some people sent him sincere texts online, and others called him to comfort him. But Bill didn't say a word during all of this. It had been days, then weeks, and he still hadn't said anything in public. Fans were worried even more, asking if he was okay, if he was taking time to think about everything behind closed doors, or if he had just given up on everything. The lack of communication only led to more rumors. Some people thought he was planning a big comeback and that he would deal with the issue in a strong way. Some people thought he was done with public life for good. It was clear, though, that this moment had changed everything. His name would always be linked to this sad scandal, no matter if Bill went back on stage or not, or if he told his story or kept it quiet. There was one thing that everyone was thinking about while they were waiting for Bill Gaither to do something next. What would he do?